Okay, take 4. I am so excited, you guys. It is season 2, Sex and the City, and it was a wild ride. I'm very excited to present this to you and share all of my juicy little details that I found watching it for the first time. And I'm sure if I watched it a second time, I would learn more, but first time around, pretty good, guys, pretty good. My name is Moon Pie Pumpkin. Please like, subscribe, share with all your friends, because I'm a cool gal. And leave a nice comment, because people on the internet are really mean all of a sudden. Stop, guys. Why so much negativity so early in the morning? Okay, we're starting off this real simple. Mothers of Manhattan. Last episode, I realized that I never told you guys, like, their jobs. So if you're watching this for the first time with me, that you don't know. So Carrie writes the Sex and the City column for a paper in New York. And I believe it was originally like an actual column and inspired the show. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the whole show is based around this column. Miranda is a Harvard-educated lawyer. That's why she dresses so professional in suits and suits and suits. And I'm pretty sure Vogue just did a cover on it to this month. Or, you know, it was the Miranda Hobbs era of suits again. I forget exactly what it was, but Samantha is a public relations professional and helps people with their investments. So she's got a lot of free time to do other things. And Charlotte is an art dealer, which is one of the more interesting things about Charlotte. Hi guys. I recorded this for 2 hours last night till like 1 a.m, and turns out it was never recording. So I'm gonna be constantly checking up on you to make sure you're still watching, okay? I'm going to a wedding this weekend. Maybe I'll do a little vlog and you can watch. You can have fun with us. Okay, let's start. Episode 1, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Now this episode is pretty iconic in itself. It's got a lot of freeze frames that you've probably seen around the internet. So this is right after Big has dumped Carrie and they go to the ball game in fur. They go to the ball game in fur, guys. Gals. Probably just girls watching. My girls, gays, and theys. Hi. I really liked this episode. It was just chill. She's very heartbroken because they've been dating for a year and they've all of a sudden broke up because she just found out that Big will never want to marry her, I'm pretty sure. So the girls go to a ball game. And this is the iconic shot you've probably seen. They're all just in sunnies, in fur, having hot dogs, drinking, and smoking. The quote of this episode is, "I love being anywhere that'll let you smoke and drink without judgment at 2 p.m. It's just really good. Carrie catches a ball in this episode, and she goes to one of the Yankees players, and she's like, sign my ball, sign my ball. So then they go on a date, and it's super, super cute. In this episode, we do find out that Samantha is still with her micropenis man from last season. She's like, this is her longest relationship, and she's just gonna like try to get through it, you know, maybe coach him through so she can feel anything. And she ends up not being able to feel anything at all, which is it's pretty hard to watch. So she tries saying, hey, maybe we incorporate a vibrator, and he's like, no, not at all. Why would you need that? I'm satisfying you completely, right? Because she hasn't told him that he's very small, which is very ironic, and you'll see why. Start of the season, Samantha starts off with a very small man, okay? Charlotte is dating a man who is very into ball tugging, and she tries to bring it up to him, and he says, that's really rude, and breaks up with her. Carrie thinks she's seeing Big all around her little area, and she's really not. And while she's on a date with her Yankees man, she actually does see Big, and the Yankee man touches her shoulder, and she's looking at Big, and she's like, I'm actually not ready for this. So she runs away, and she gets on the phone, and we're like, oh my god, she's calling Big, but no, she's calling Miranda. And they have a cute little lunch together, and it's just really puts the ties of girlhood together. It's just a really cute episode, guys. I gotta stop saying guys. Episode 2, The Awful Truth. This episode made me really, really horribly angry because at the beginning of the episode we see Carrie's friend who is in a very verbally and almost physically abusive marriage. So Carrie is like, hey, what? Leave. And so the girl does leave, and she goes out and she's single and she leaves her abusive husband, and they just go have fun together, and you know, she's finally free. Just wait, it's really fun. So that's the setup for the episode. But it's Carrie's birthday and she's having this beautiful dinner with all of her friends, and then Big shows up because she invited Big. Who hates Big? Me. I hate Big. I don't know why she's keep attaching to him. He's literally the worst. We're at her birthday party. This episode, Miranda is seeing a man who really likes talking during sex, and she hates it. She hates it very much, but then learns to like it, I guess. And then he gets turned off by her talking during sex, so he leaves her. Okay? And then Samantha and her micro penis man go to therapy, and Samantha delivers another beautiful line.
What can I say? I need a big dick. I hear that.
Like, amen, right? Come on. So Charlotte cannot get a man, and it's all she's ever wanted in her life, but she just can't find the right one for her, so she gets a dog. Why get a man when there's dogs? Sound logic, except this dog is literally from hell. He poops on her bed and tears her new sheets up, and it's just horrible. So this dog ends up going to that woman at the beginning of the episode with the abusive husband, and the woman takes the dog back to the husband, and that's all they needed to fix their relationship. The man just yells at the dog now instead of his wife. Guys. What? Episode 3, The Freak Show. This episode is about how men and women are single in their 30s for a reason, because it's usually all the freaks, quote unquote, that are left. We get to see them all. Like, I'm so sorry to put this on your screen. This man is locking himself up in a closet for Samantha's sake. And this is all that's left of the men. So this is what they're dealing with. This is what they get to have. Yeah, Samantha does run away from this man, but Charlotte does meet Mr. Pussy. Mr. Pussy is called this because he only likes to eat out. Charlotte is enjoying her time with Mr. Pussy because one night they were together, she finished 7 times. And she's like, hey, maybe this is the guy for me. And so they try to go on a date, and Mr. Pussy just makes it really inappropriate, and she just gets very uncomfortable. So she leaves. Here's where we meet one of the good ones left. We meet Ben, and Ben and Carrie meet after going on a bunch of weird dates with all the weird people in Manhattan, and they're like, hey, you actually seem pretty normal. What's going on? So they go on a few dates and everything's going really good, and then Carrie ruins it. So so they're hanging out, and they're over at his place, and he's like, I gotta go to soccer practice, but you stay here as long as you want. Like, you can stay here till I get back. Just chillax, you know, have like a day off. So cute. So then Carrie gets a little paranoid because she's like, wow, this guy's like too perfect, I think, and goes through all of his things and makes a mess and is smoking and standing on his bed. And then he walks in and he's like, you know how this looks, right? She's like, yeah, I do. I'm so sorry, but it's not what you think. He's like, no, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave because this is really weird, Carrie. So she does ruin this beautiful thing with Ben, and we miss Ben a lot because he was really nice for her. And Samantha does get the fat from her butt put into her face. Later, after everything's good, she later goes back to the doctor and is like, hey, you know what, like, what else can I do? And he's like, well, like, in 5 years we can do this, and then maybe in 10 years we can do this, and then blah blah blah. And he just has like red marker all over her face and all the things, and she's like, I look like a clown, maybe I'm the freak show. And it's just really hard to watch because you realize that she's realizing that she's getting older, and it's just really sad because here on this channel we're Team Samantha and we hate Mr. Big. Episode 4, they shoot single people, don't they? I wouldn't know. I'm not single. Thank you. My first thought during this episode is they're all going on a run together. How do they have free time to spend time to each other in the middle of the day? I don't understand. How are they so skinny? They go get a few drinks and Carrie gets a little too many drinks because the day after she's got this magazine shoot and she's super late for it. So she's like hungover, looks a mess. She goes to the magazine shoot. It's Single and Fabulous. Just the best. And they start taking pictures of her and she's like, no, like I gotta like do my makeup and do my hair, like just give me a second. They're like, no, you're already late, this is fine, this is like the real you. And then a few weeks later this comes out. Single and Fabulous ? A question mark? That was never told to her, so she's very upset about it. So this really puts a shock through the girls because they're all single and fabulous ? Now, which they thought they were single and fabulous ! Many hurrahs to that. But this magazine just really put it into perspective that, hey, maybe they're not. So Samantha tries to go to the East Hamptons with a club owner, but she's stood up. Who would ever do that to Samantha? I don't know. Miranda is with this very nice guy. He's got a great personality, but he's horrible in bed. And she's like, if this is gonna go any longer, because I don't want to be single and fabulous ? I want to be fabulous. She actually tells him that he's horrible in bed, but he's such a nice person. He's like, but all my past relationships, they didn't say anything. And she's like, because you're a really nice person. And the one thing we learned, ladies, is that you can't change someone's personality, but you can teach them things. And that's what Miranda showed us, right? Bradley Cooper, what are you doing here? I can't tell you how many cameos there are in this season. I was like blown apart. So Bradley Cooper shows up and Carrie's like going woohoo crazy girl because she's like very stressed out that this magazine thinks she's single and fabulous ? So Bradley Cooper shows up and he's like, hey there, sexy mama, let's take a ride in my whip. And then he finds the magazine and he's like, is this you? Is this you right here? Is this actually you? And she's like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. And she runs away. Charlotte, after seeing the Single and Fabulous ? Has a very good friend who always comes over and fixes all of her things for her. And he's an actor. And she's like, this guy's really nice. Maybe like we would hit it off. So they go on a few dates and they have some fun. It doesn't really work out. But they end up having like a pretty mutual breakup because she's like kind of done with it. And he's going away to do an acting school. And you just don't see a lot of mutual breakups these days. There's just a lot that goes on, guys. Because usually in shows there's 2 storylines, but this always has 4 storylines going. The end of this episode, Carrie does go for a lunch by herself just to celebrate her independence and say, hey, I am single and fabulous. Episode 5, 4 Women and a Funeral. Holy what? Let me tell you about this one, guys. Carrie's friend, who is a fashion designer, dies because he might, quote unquote, he might love clothes, but he loves heroin more. So the girls go to the funeral and everyone's dressed in black, but Samantha is dressed in one of his couture outfits. And she's like, it's so rare, gotta show it off. And apparently the 4 girls in black are actually the outcasts because everyone else is wearing his couture. Charlotte in this episode does find a man at his wife's grave. While Samantha is doing her business, she does get busy with one of her associates. His wife walks in and so Samantha's probably like an E tier, D list in the community of whatever she does. And the woman that walks in is more of an AS tier kind of. So that woman actually doesn't let Samantha into any club or organization. Samantha plans something for the man that just died and it's a huge party, but she's not even allowed to go into the thing that she has organized. So Samantha begs to get not blacklisted anymore, and it's very weird to see Samantha beg. The woman does say no, and Samantha's like, you know what? That's fine, I'm better than you, and walks away. Miranda in this episode gets a brand new flat apartment and it's really nice. She's decorating, she's just having her alone time and she's so happy, and she keeps having to repeat to the guy that's selling it to her that she is single and not in a relationship and she's just doing this alone, and she's buying for it alone because she's a strong independent woman. and it feels very judgy. But the woman before her died because she choked and she was alone with her cat, and then Miranda chokes alone with her cat and she almost dies. And she tried to call Carrie, but Carrie screened her calls, so she didn't pick up right away, and this made Miranda very anxious, and Carrie promised to never screen her calls again, just in case Miranda is dying. So Miranda is now always overfeeding her cat so that the cat doesn't eat her. Also in this episode, we find out that this is Miranda's first panic attack at 41. What were y'all doing back then? Why are you so chill? I had my first panic attack at 8. Is that normal, guys? Is that normal? I think that's normal, right? Anyway, first panic attack at 41. It shook me to my core. I can't believe that this happened. Carrie does call Mr. Big after seeing him, and they do start seeing each other again and going on secret bowling. And she doesn't tell the girls because she knows they'll be very disappointed in her, and I'm very disappointed in her because look at the state of him. I don't understand, maybe this has something to do with it. But I just don't see the appeal in this man. He's toxic, he's rude to her, he doesn't respect her, and he's ugly. Mom said when this first came out that he was like the go-to guy, so maybe it's just a sign of the times, but I think he's just a trash bag. Okay? Episode 6, The Cheating Curve. So as we learn, Charlotte has her own gallery and is an art dealer and is showing a lesbian art deal. So there's lots of naked women everywhere. So all the girls are there, but they're all occupied, so Carrie sneaks off to go be with Mr. Big. And Charlotte is very interested in all the lesbians there. She is loving this new perspective of not having to deal with men and just being around the female gaze. Gaze, not gays. She's just so moved by their perspective of not needing anyone and just being by themselves or being with all their girlfriends and just having fun, and there's no male energy at all, and it's just a very lovely new perspective for Charlotte, and I'm just excited to see where this takes her because I'm just waiting for her to get unbrainwashed and I don't know, just some perspective. And I think this is a really good step for her to just get some perspective of the world around her. So Carrie does sneak off to see Big and doesn't tell any of her friends, and it's just really disappointing, and I hate it a lot. Charlotte is not telling the lesbians that she's hanging out with for the whole week that she is actually straight. And so the girls are very disappointed in her that she's not saying that she's straight. Miranda is beautifully stunning. Look at this couture in this episode. She is dating or seeing a man who likes to put porn on in the background to get him going, so there's just always porn playing when they're having fun. Charlotte does tell them that she's straight, but she's really having a lot of fun, so maybe she is a little gay.
But if you're not going to eat pussy, you're not a dyke.
Yeah. So that happened. People just keep saying the most crazy things to Charlotte, and I love it. So this is Samantha, if you can't tell. Samantha starts seeing her trainer from her gym, and he's like, this is the body I built, this is the house of Coach. New Girl reference. And he's like, they're in the shower together, and he's like, can I shave your legs? And she's like, of course. So he starts shaving her legs, and then he keeps going. He just keeps going and shaves up there. I really like to imagine that he did a lightning bolt. So at this point, this is when I realized that this season does not have 12 episodes. It actually has 18 episodes, and it really crushed my motivation to watch. So this is where I just took, I think, a month to not watch it because I was just so devastated that it actually had 18 episodes instead of 12, and it started to feel like homework, and these next few kind of felt like filler episodes. I got back on the wagon, like it's okay, like we did finish it and it was a very good season. We start this episode with Carrie at Mr. Big's house, and she's not bringing anything to his house because his face is his face, and he's made that very clear. And she's at his place and she's like, I need to brush my teeth, do you have a spare? And he's like, oh, I have a spare head for my electric toothbrush. And he takes it off and he puts one on for her, and he gives her his electric toothbrush. So that's like the only sweet moment we see of Big. I have no idea what that video was.
I don't understand why women are so obsessed about getting married. I mean, married people just want to be single again. If you're single, the world is your smorgasbord.
So Carrie in this season makes smoking really cool. This is a wedding. This is a wedding episode. Miranda is decorating her flat and it's all finished, and she invites this guy over that she's really fond of, and her decorator and him hit it off immediately and get married 7 weeks later. So this is their wedding, and Miranda is in charge of the guest book at their wedding because she introduced them, and Charlotte is just a gutsy girl, and she's one of the brides. So Big comes to the wedding. He's just like not having it. He's just very disinterested in it, and he's just not having a good time. And Carrie's really heartbroken by this because she just wants him to participate in his life, obviously. So it's just really sad to see. So Charlotte gets with one of the bachelors because she's a bachelorette and he's a bachelor, and they go and they set up the honeymoon. Charlotte never usually sleeps on the first date, but since they technically had 3 dates, they danced together, they had dinner, they technically walked down the aisle together. So they end up sleeping together, and then when they walk that back down, he introduces her to his parents. And so she's dancing with the dad, and then the dad cops a feel. And Charlotte's like, oh my god, how could you do that? That's so yucky. And she goes to the bachelor and she's like, oh my god, your dad just copped a feel. And he's like, how dare you? You're a slut. My dad will never do that. My parents are happily married. And leaves. So it's really hard to see, and it's really gross, and I just wish all the best for Charlotte after this point. It's just a hard world out there. Episode 8, the man, the myth, the Viagra. Donald Trump, what are you doing here? I thought you died and got shot. Oh, wait, you didn't die? That sucks. Samantha is dating an old man in this episode. He's 72, but he's a 72-year-old millionaire. He buys her diamond and diamond earrings and diamond things. Guys, I forgot about Steve. Steve is just the best. Miranda and Carrie were supposed to meet for some drinks, but Carrie stands her up to be with Big and make supper with him. So Steve overhears this conversation at the phone, and he's like, hi, I'm Steve, are you okay? She's like, another drink, please. He's like, oh, actually, no, we use manners here. My name is Steve. You can say please and thank you. And his whole catchphrase is like, my name is Steve. Remember me, my name is Steve. And we really love Steve. He's just like really good for Miranda. Pause here. Before any of this happens, Samantha is seeing her 72-year-old man, and she's like, you know what, it's fine, like he's a bit older, but his like the touching and like his lips, it all feels like a very young man. And he goes to get Viagra, but then in the moonlight she sees his old man butt and runs away. Carrie really wants Big to meet and get to know her friends more because he's never really sat down and got to meet them. So she's like, here, come to this bar with us, like it'll be really fun. And then she goes to his door because she's been so excited about it the whole day, and he's like in pajamas and sweats. He's like, I actually can't make it, like I don't want to go. So she goes and she's like really sad, and she's lying to the girl. She's like, oh, he's just at work, like he'll be a second. And then Miranda's like, oh, you know, he sucks, nothing, there's no love in this world, like I just hate everything. And Steve is there with him, and he's bringing them drinks because he knows people in the know, and he's just really beautiful, and we really like Steve here. But then Big does show up, and Miranda's like, hey, maybe love exists. And after she shoos away Steve, goes and gets him, and they kiss in the rain. Oh, it's so cute. It's so romance. That's a Bluey reference. Thank you. Old dogs, new
changes into drag queen bingo.
Oh, in this episode, Charlotte sees her first uncircumcised penis, and she's like, ah! Oh my god! And she tells him this, and he's like, yes, that has been most women's reaction, so I'm actually gonna get it chopped. And she's like, wow, like that's amazing. And then after his recovery, he's technically a quote-unquote virgin is what they say, so they enjoy some time together. And he's like, babes, I gotta go, I gotta share my new thing with the world. And she's like, what? So he leaves. Big just can't make any room for Carrie in this episode. No room in his life, no room in his bed. So Big actually pushes Carrie off the bed in his sleep, even though it's a king. He just like kicks her out. And then in frustration, Carrie accidentally punches Big in the face. And he was really mad about it, but I was like, yes, finally someone did it. And in this episode, Steve taught Miranda just how to slow down in life and actually enjoy it and take in a few seconds for herself. I want to say cased. I thought it said castle. Oh my god, Carrie's hair is straight! It's spring in New York City and the girls are girling and they're having such a beautiful time. In this episode, Carrie tells Big that she loves him. He says, thanks. Miranda and Steve are off, like they're really having fun, but Miranda will only let Steve pay if they go to a cheap restaurant. So they got 2 extra large pizzas and 2 large drinks and it was $6. Yeah, so Miranda is just very aware that he is a bartender and she is a Harvard-educated lawyer and their money differences are really big. Enter the caste system. So the girls are girling and they're talking about this and they're like, this isn't, even though this isn't medieval times, there is still a working class and there is still an upper class, and they do this comparison by them having pedicures and women doing their pedicures, and it's just a very nice showing of what they're talking about. The thing that bugs me is, how are they always together? How do their schedules always match up? I can never schedule anything with any of my friends because all of our schedules are never aligning ever, but somehow the 4 of them can coordinate lunches and pedicures and walks and gyms and breakfasts and lunches and clubbing. I just don't understand it, guys. So in this episode, because Miranda does ask Steve out to a date at her fancy lawyer, he needs a suit, and Miranda offers to buy him a suit, and he's like, no, like I can't do that, like this isn't working, and they break up because of their money things, and he doesn't want to hold her back. And then later in the episode, Mr. Big tells Carrie that this is a safe space. You can actually take back your I love you if you want. No, it's not. No, it's not. Wake up. Wake up. This isn't the guy for you. You see how disappointed she is? You see how heartbroken she is? So after this, Carrie goes on a bender and she meets a guy. Nothing happens, of course, but it's an old friend of hers. Later, Big calls her and says, you know what? I do love you, so you can stop acting out. Episode 11. Evolution. Miranda in this episode finds out that her right ovary has stopped producing eggs, and it just kicks in that, she doesn't have a lot of time left to start the family that she wants. Carrie, after the I love you, Carrie starts leaving some of her stuff at her place because she's been carrying around this big bag full of a new pair of underwear, a blow dryer for hair, toothbrush, toothpaste, makeup remover, makeup for in the morning, then leaves a poop at his place. She poops after 2 years of them being together. 2 years? Logan and I farted in front of each other 3 weeks before we were officially dating. Math is like, good on you, girl, and Charlotte's like, yucky, 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 and Miranda's like, stunned. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a different time. Is anyone gonna notice my purse? Because she has a really tiny purse because she doesn't need to carry anything, and she's leaving all this stuff at Big's. And then, after the week of slowly leaving stuff, just gradually, he brings a bag of her stuff back to her. It says, here, you left these at my place. And she's like, can you not make a little room for me? Like, I'm staying over there. I don't just wake up like this. I need to get ready in the morning, and I don't want to go back to my place and then, start my day. I just want to start my day. Fair enough. So after this is the first time that Big sleeps at her house after 2 years, because he likes his bed, he likes his sheets, and he doesn't want to be in her space. Miranda goes on a date trying to, explaining that she might freeze her eggs just because she doesn't know how much time she has left. And she's going on a date with this guy, and this is what he says.
A lot of other issues.
Such as?
Such as? What is all this reproductive technology doing for us? I mean, do we want desperate women having babies at 50? Maybe some people aren't supposed to procreate. Maybe this is the world's way of weeding out the weak, you see. If you ask me, this is a ridiculous abuse of science. You have now designer sperm and these simulated wombs. Here's a good idea. Why don't we just eliminate men altogether?
Hey, I don't need to be lectured about science by a man who's doing crop rotation on his forehead.
Isn't that horrible? Episode 12. Douleur exquise. I did French for 13 years. I'm actually certified fluent. Do you think it's coming through in the moment that I need it most? No. So this episode, Samantha is holding a function, and it's BDSM dinner. If your waiter makes a mistake, then you get to whip them, and there's people in the front when you walk in that you can whip and torture, and not torture, I'm sorry, play with. Samantha is wearing just this gorgeous outfit. Look at her, the choker, the whip, she had a hat on. Look at this bodysuit, like the lip, the makeup, are you kidding me? It's just so beautiful. And of course Charlotte walks in wearing just a nice dress. Carrie goes to Big's house and, you know, is playing with him and like whips him. She's like, you want to be a torturer? And he's like, ha ha ha, maybe. Hey, by the way, I'm going to Paris for 2 weeks and then maybe I'll take a job there for 6 months. She's like, way to drop this bomb on me. That's crazy. BoJack Horseman, what are you doing here? I would do anything for love. I love Will Arnett. His character, the writers really did him dirty, and I can't watch this episode ever again, even though I love him so much. But his character in this episode really likes to have sex where he can get caught. So him and Miranda do it in alleyways, in restaurants, just all around town, even in cabs. So this is Miranda in the cab with Batman, and later in the episode she's like, I just want to do it lying down, like just once, you know, see if it's actually good or if it's just like the thrill. So they're doing it, and like it's very loud because it's at his house, and she's like, oh, finally, like we're alone. And then his parents walk in, he makes eye contact with them and then finishes. What? BoJack Horseman, are you kidding me? Carrie in this outfit literally gave me chills the first time I saw it. Are you kidding me? Smoke in hand, Cosmo in the other. Her hair is straight. The pink and purple outfits, and I think she had like these sandal heels on, and Stanford's there comforting her because Stanford's a gem among gems. In this season, Stanford learns to love himself, and it's just really cute. It's just a side plot to a side plot, but I thought I'd mention it because Stanford finds love. I just thought the rings and the Cosmo and the smoke just really complete it. And she has a few drinks with Stanford and then later calls Big, and it's like 6 a.m. for him, or like 3 a.m. for him, because he's in Paris, or he's somewhere else prepping to go to Paris, I believe is what was happening. So she's like yelling at him. She's like, how could you do this to me? Like, I thought we were like finally getting into the groove of things, and we were like finally having like a good time. And he's like, why don't you have a few more Cosmos? And she's like, are you kidding me? So he gets mad at her. So Charlotte in this episode gets some free shoes because she lets this man touch her feet. And she's got a pedicure, she's got a toe ring. I don't understand toe rings. I don't have the feet for toe rings. But I just feel like it would be very uncomfortable. So Charlotte lets this man touch her feet, and then she gets these shoes for free. And he finishes while touching her feet and seeing her in shoes. And that's Charlotte's story for this episode. So Big gets back from his little trip, and she's like trying to put everything behind her. She's being so happy. She's like, I'm so happy you're back. Like, let's talk about like everything and just like have a little bit of fun. And he's like, blah 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 blah, I think like I'd see you, like I'll maybe call you one time when I'm in Paris for 6 months. And she's just so done with it. She's so done with him not making space for her. She's so done with everything that she throws all the food that she got him onto the wall, and then there's a burger over there, just everything. And he's like, what the frickin' frack is going on here? And they break up. She looks stunning, and her hair is back to curly, and I like it. But I really am curious, because episode 12 in the last season ended with Mr. Big and Carrie breaking up, and episode 12 in this season ended up with Mr. Big and Carrie breaking up. So I wonder if they added those extra few episodes just so that the seasons didn't end the exact same. It's a very interesting notion. But she's always smoking inside, and I wonder, like, is smoking damage to her walls and ceiling? It must be insane, because I never have seen her ever blow her smoke out the window. Sorry, I'm joking. Episode 13, the games people play. Carrie can't stop talking about Big in this episode, so her friends don't want to hear her talk about it anymore, and they're really sick and tired of hearing about Big and how she's feeling, and just everything sucks for them and for me, because I also had to listen to it. So her friends recommend going to see a quote-unquote shrink. That's what they call them in the olden days. But Carrie goes to therapy, and she just doesn't like it very much. But she keeps going because she found a cute boy in the waiting room, and they see each other. And after they sleep together, you know, she's like, so why are you going to see the doctor? And he's like, oh, I don't talk to women after I sleep with them. And he's like, what about you? And she's like, I picked the wrong men. And I think in that moment, everything just kind of sunk in for her, and she realized that she really did need to focus on herself and her friendship and just finding herself and maybe not picking Mr. Big ever again. Thank you very much. The girls are girling. They're always together. They're always on the town. They're always dressed so chic, and it's just so beautiful. And let me see in my notes. They enter a bar that is games night, and for games night, women drink for free. The girls are really uncomfortable by all the male energy, but they're getting free drinks, so I don't know. But everyone's really hating it except for Samantha. Samantha is loving all the testosterone in the air in this bar, and she finds this man, and if the Yankees win, that they can sleep together. And you know, it's very exciting, and Samantha gets into sports for like a hot second. And after the basketball Yankee season was over, they go into the baseball season, I believe, and then the whole thing starts over again, and she's like, I'm not waiting for this really horrible team. At that time, no one get mad at me if you're a Yankees fan, at that time, so that she can get her gollies. I can't show any of these pictures because they are not suited for the internet, but Miranda isn't living in her new flat. She's having such a good time, but there's this guy across the window from her, and he's like, hi, and he like shows off all of her things, and she's like, oh, I'll show off all my things, ha ha ha, what a funny time. And then they see each other in the grocery store, and she's like, I'm just gonna be adult about this, hi, like, I'm Miranda, I'm the one like across the street, you know, ha ha ha. And he's like, oh, you're the girl living downstairs from the guy I'm talking to. That's so embarrassing. That was a really hard watch. Skipper's back. Skipper had like 2 episodes last season, and I'm so happy he's back. Skipper's pretty chill, but I do like Steve a little bit better from Miranda, but they're very similar. Steve is complaining to Carrie because every woman he's ever dated breaks up with him because he's really just too nice, and that's not what they're looking for. Samantha overhears her neighbors having some fun, so the voiceover for this episode is Samantha is just listening to them, and quote unquote, if you can't join them, beat it. So she beats it, and she's having fun with her neighbors, but they don't know. After her breakup, Carrie usually has a pretty solid routine of Chinese food takeout, sleeping until noon, and being by herself. But for the last 10 years, there's also been this guy that comes in and bounce, if you know what I'm saying.
What? He's a fuck buddy.
What is wrong with you? What have you been living under a rock? Charlotte does ask a man out for the first time in her life. Bravo! We're kind of getting a breakthrough. So Charlotte asks out like 7 men, and she double books some of them. And in the first one, she's like, oh my god, I'm late. I have a cold. And she leaves to go see the second one. And then the first guy is dropping off chicken soup for her, but he catches her kissing the other guy. And then the 2 guys go for a beer, and she just has chicken soup alone. So lesson learned, don't double book. Carrie goes out with her F buddy, and it's just they have nothing in common, and they're eating sushi, and it's really so terribly awkward, and it's just really hard to watch. So Samantha is still got a joint, I'm pretty sure, and she's having a little time, aren't we, the little joiner, dirty dancing. And she's very loud, and the neighbors do hear her, and they slide a little note, and she's like, god, I hope they're good looking. She walks over in her finest lace and leathers, and then she opens the door, and they're not what she thought, and then she immediately moves her bed to a different part of her room. Miranda does see Skipper. He's just like, no, you broke my heart, like I can't do this. And Miranda is trying to find a good guy, and she's like, oh my god, Skipper's a good guy. Let's see if this will happen again. Skipper's like being kind of mean to her and like running away. She's like, oh gosh darn it, why is this working? Carrie then later dumps her friend and goes back to her original breakup routine, with his eating takeout Chinese food, sleeping till noon, and just being in bed. Episode 15, Shortcomings. Carrie's hair is curly again. Carrie meets this guy, and he just needs to go drop off some books with his family before they go see a movie, and it's pretty cute. But they end up staying with his family because his mom knows her from her column, and she's like, I love what you write, like it's so real, so honest. The daughters' names are Franny and Zoe from JD Salinger because they love him so much, and it's just really beautiful. Miranda at her gym has a 1-hour family time where a bunch of kids will come into her gym, and she's like, no, can't do this. So she goes to an elevator and is trying to leave, but there's this guy here with his son, and he's pretty cute, and he's like, can my son press all the buttons because he loves it so much? She's like, sure, why not? And so they get together, and then Miranda is hit in the face with a stick by the child while they're out on a picnic date. Later, have some coitus. Miranda goes to the bathroom, and then the child walks in on her completely naked in the bathroom, so she quickly closes the door because she doesn't want to scar the child, obviously. But the door hits him a little too hard, and he's bleeding from the head, and then the dad walks out, and he's like, Miranda, how could you leave? And she's like, okay, now I'm never going to date someone with kids because Miranda will never come first, and their family will always be priority. Charlotte's brother is in town because he and his wife are getting a divorce, and he's just having a really hard time, so Charlotte bakes him some muffins and tries to cheer him up. So she tries to take him out on the town. This is Vaughn's mother. So the guy Carrie is seeing, this is his mom. And Carrie and her go on a bunch of lunches together, and they have a really great time, and she's just so open and talking, and she's just so cool, and I just really love her, and it's who I want to be when I grow up. She's just like educated and cool and just so open and always talking, and she says that from when the kids were little, we used the real words. We used penis and vagina, and others pee-pee and wah-wah. Samantha sleeps with Charlotte's brother, and then Charlotte calls her a slut. Charlotte's brother tells Charlotte that he and his wife aren't like doing good at all, and like Charlotte keeps trying to fix their marriage, but he's like, no, it's not gonna happen. Until Samantha showed up, I hadn't had sex in 2.5 years. And Charlotte's like, oh my god, I didn't know it was that bad. So then Charlotte goes to Samantha's place and gives her some muffins, and Samantha takes it as like, thank you for sleeping with my brother muffins. It's really weird. Carrie has to break up with this man because he cannot finish unless it's inside his own pants. This man never gets to the point where he's touching Carrie. He is only ever just a few kisses, and then he's done. So she does break up with him, and the mom knows about this problem because his last girlfriend wasn't that discreet as her. So Carrie has to actually break up with his mom also because the mom is in love with Carrie. Me looking at all my bad habits and just so happy to see them. I don't know what the meme is.
Was it good for you?
Episode 16. Charlotte's seeing this Dr. Man who's got a real packed schedule. So while they're having some fun and he's on top of her and inside of her, he falls asleep. Charlotte's pretty heartbroken about this, as you might be. Samantha gives us another beautiful line.
Soon everyone will be pansexual. It won't matter if you're gay or straight.
Just if you're good or bad in bed.
Exactly.
Gross. I just saw my ex with someone else. I just walked. Samantha is friends with these two gay lovers, and they're like, hey, we've never been with a woman and we'd really like to try just like once in our lives, and we thought the perfect candidate would be you. So she's like, oh, I'm so flattered, and she's like, maybe I can't do this, but they keep paying her so many compliments, and she's like, maybe I can. So they just start kissing her, and then they get down and they realize she doesn't have a penis, and they leave. They're like, actually, I can't do this. So Charlotte makes the girls go to a sex class with her because she thinks that man falling asleep was totally her fault because someone told her that it was, and I just am so sorry for this woman. Like, someone help Charlotte, please. So Charlotte takes them to the sex class because this woman is a quote-unquote genius. This woman brings out her husband and shows them a maneuver that they can all use. This next slide may haunt you for the rest of your life. The man finishes on Miranda. I'd kill myself, oh my god, the way I gasped when I saw this. Oh, what? Why would they put that in? Why would they put that in? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean that happened? Why? This poor woman. It was some old man. This old man jizzed on her. So the rest of the episode, all we see Miranda doing is picking up a Kleenex and wiping herself because she can still feel it. She's had like 7 showers, and all the girls are laughing. I'm like, oh my god, no, support her. Ah, what? Anyway, it was like very close to being her mouth, and I'm so glad it wasn't. 20-something girls versus 30-something girls. A bunch of things happen in this Hamptons house, which gets the girls to be able to go to this Hampton house in the summer, which they're usually all booked. And by miraculous, Charlotte knows these people and their house is free. Look at how stunning they are. Are you kidding me with these outfits? Especially Samantha. She's eating this up. Oh, it's just so beautiful. I really love that Carrie's hair is curly again. But they go to the Hamptons and they take this long 4-hour bus ride to get there, and then there's a 20, like all the kids are throwing this beach party, and Fat Boy Slim starts playing, and it's a rager. So they got their plastic cups, they're on the beach, they're having fun. They saw someone throw up within 5 minutes of being there and then left. Yeah, fair enough. Julia approved. I would leave immediately. Except Charlotte meets this guy and she tells him that she's 26. Carrie meets this girl, and then later, because this girl's in love with Carrie and her column and just aspires to be a writer as free as Carrie, so Carrie shadows her a little bit. All the girls that she knows are saving themselves for marriage, and she's disgusted by anything sex and, you know, things, and Carrie's like, why do you like my column? And she's like, oh, well, you know, it's just very freeing to see that someone else can have fun. I don't know what it was. It was just really weird. So this girl goes and gets her and Carrie some Cosmos, and within that time, Carrie picks up this doctor man who's just really nice, and they later go to the Hamptons, and she stays at his beach house for like a little bit, and they just have a really good conversation and a nice kiss, and that's all we see of the doctor man. The little Char, while with that little man, 22-something, Char gets crabs, and little Miss 20 knows what it is. She's like, I got like this thing on my chest, I can't get it off, do you know what it is? And she's like, yeah, that's crabs. Like, did she do lots of research? I just don't understand how she's the one who figured it out. And so they burn all the sheets, and, you know, she showers a bunch of times, and then she goes and yells at the man. He's like, well, you lied about your age, so I feel like I didn't have to tell you about that I had crabs. So this woman in the pink hat, it's not Apple Roan, unfortunately. She used to work for Samantha, and Samantha's like, you know, you should really respect me. Like, I can get you places, but you're being really rude to me, but, and it's just not cool. She's like, you know what, I quit. And she takes Samantha's Rolodex, and she throws this yearly hoedown in the Hamptons, and she got really drunk, and she sees Samantha. She's like, oh my god, Samantha, thank god you're here, I really need so much help. And Samantha, look at her outfit, are you kidding me? She's literally eating it up. And so Samantha helps her just fix the night, and everyone's having a good time finally. And Samantha, the bestie that she is, hooks up Crab Man with Pink Pony Girl. This next slide, Carrie's outfit. Can we just take a second? Look at the figure, and there's the gold bands and the necklace and the curly hair and the bra. 20-something girls are just fabulous. Thank you. Anyway, Carrie throws up after seeing Big with this woman who's 26. She's like, what are you doing? You're back from Paris? He's like, yeah, I came home early. Big, you ignorant slut, are you kidding me? So Carrie throws up after seeing that because she's just so whiplashed. And you guys aren't even ready for this. So Big is like 47 and this woman is 26. Last episode of season 2. Get ready. Episode 18, X in the City. I don't know, the way she said it, it was just nice. I don't know, it doesn't really apply to anyone. Well, women are for friendships and men are for... Smoking is cool. That's like the one thing I learned from this season. Look at how cool she looks. Let me see. The 4 girls in this episode share one dessert. And I think maybe that's how they're staying so skinny. They just don't have any sugar and they just have salads and Cosmos. And they smoke. I wish like I looked like Aphrodite. I do look like Aphrodite. Carrie and Miranda run into Steve on the street. Miranda runs away and Steve goes to her house and knocks on her door. He's like, hey, why did you do that? That was really rude. And she's like, I know it was. It was a really thing for me to do. And she's like crying because she misses Steve so much. And then Steve's like, I miss you so much. Like I wish like I still want to be in your life. So they try to be friends. Yeah, are you kidding me? She meets a man immediately after she leaves her house. They go on a few dates, and then, so in the end of the season, this man is huge, and this is Samantha's reaction, and that should tell you enough. He's like, okay, let me just like warm you up a bit. And she's like, oh yeah, no, this is good. He's like, okay, are you ready now? She's like, am I ready? nah. And so for the first time in Samantha life, she says, let's be friends to a man. Carrie calls, they call each other and they go for lunch because they're like, hey, maybe we can be friends too. You know, maybe it's fine. But after a month of dating this 26-year-old, he's actually engaged to her. Carrie freaks out, flips her chair, and leaves the restaurant. And Miranda and Steve get together. They're just friends. That's not what I think. They have some fun, and then they say, hey, maybe let's just actually be friends. And Charlotte's story this episode is that she likes horses and she's gonna go ride a horse. Nothing really happens to Charlotte this season. She gets her feet touched, she thinks she's a lesbian, and then goes to a sex class and likes horses. Carrie gets in the mail engagement brunch invitation, because why not invite your ex to your brunch engagement dinner? So the girls are girling and they're like, I can't believe he invited you. So they're having drinks while the brunch is happening just like across the street. Carrie's like, you know what this is? This is The Way We Were. This is exactly like what's happening in this movie. I haven't seen that movie yet, so I don't know yet. But then the girls start singing to Samantha because Samantha also hasn't seen the movie, and they're just singing in this restaurant, and it's just really cute, and I really like this part. And they're all just drinking martinis and Cosmos, and it's just girlhood, and I love it. Carrie does walk over, and she does see Big, and then tells him this.
I have a question for you. Why wasn't it me?
Carrie.
No, seriously. I really need to hear you say it. Come on, be a friend.
I don't know. It just got so hard. And she's
so brave. What a jerk. One of the last quotes of the season is, some women can't be tamed. They need to run and be free until they find someone to run and be free with. And I thought it was very cute. And this is the last frame of the season. That's the end of season 2. Woo! While watching this, I was wondering, I was like, oh my god, were these guys friends in real life? Because that would be really cute if they were friends in real life. So Kim and Sarah, Samantha and Carrie, yeah, they never liked each other. They were always feuding. They didn't want to be in scenes together, which is crazy because they're in so many scenes together. Like, they don't even talk to each other anymore. But everyone else is really good friends. My thoughts on season 2. I didn't like how they kind of repeated the Big and Carrie story. I felt like that was unneeded. Smoking is cool. Drink Cosmos. Wear cute outfits. And be a boss. And that's pretty much all I learned from this season. I really hope that Charlotte gets another story. I hope that Samantha serving looks and good lines and comments. Miranda's just like the only person who is like down to earth, grounded, and I just want her to keep being real. And Carrie, I hope, never gets back with Big ever again. So season 3 coming soon. I'm so excited to keep watching this with you guys. I hope you like this video. Thanks for watching it all the way through if you're still here. What a crazy whirlwind of stories and emotions, and an old man jizzed on Miranda. That's, I think, the craziest thing that happened in this season.